Hi, my name is Jackie Ash Cologne, and I have a question. If breakfast is the most important meal of the day, why is it that that's the meal that everyone seems to forget? Well, I have an answer. It's because we're busy. Between trying to get your kids off to school, getting yourself off to school, make sure your spouse gets off to school, dropping off prescriptions, dropping off dry cleaning, and rush hour traffic. By the time you get to work, breakfast is nowhere on your mind. And then when you realize you're hungry, it's lunchtime. But I've come up with a surefire way to ensure that my family has a healthy breakfast, even if it is on the go. Now, I know I can go to any store and buy the Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches or a Hot Pocket. But come on, really? One, they're too expensive. You don't get very many. And then the Hot Pockets, they're mainly bread with very little stuff in the middle. So I came up with my own. I use Grand's biscuits. Use the Grand's biscuits. The reason why is because the smaller biscuits, you take way too many to make one Hot Pocket. And really, it's just a mess. So if you get the Grands, they're big enough and you can use one per Hot Pocket. Just makes your life easier. And for your meat, you can use any kind of meat that you want. But we like the Raging Cajun sausages that they sell at Kroger. They're very, very good. If you don't like spice, they do sell them in mild, so I would get those if I were you. And you just slice them up about an inch thick. And I use eggs. If you're going to make one Hot Pocket, use 2 eggs. If you're going to make 6 Hot Pockets, use 4 eggs, and so on and so forth. All depends on how many you're going to make. And I use cheese. Why? Because who does not like cheese? And because my husband likes spicier than the sausages, I should say, I use these sweet cherry peppers. They're very good, and honestly, you can eat them by themselves like they're pickles. And I use onions. I mix my cherry peppers, my sausages, and my onions together. I cook those together. My eggs are separate. If you don't like the egg yolks, you can just make the egg whites. Once my sausages are done, I drain the grease off of them, and I mix them with my eggs. And then I put the cheese in so that they can bind together. Now, your biscuit. You're going to flatten it. If you don't have a rolling pin, before I bought a rolling pin, I was using one of those big cups that you can get from any gas station. Just make sure you put flour on it. It does the same thing. But if you have a rolling pin, put flour on it, put flour on your cutting board, and just flatten it as flat as you can. Make it about the size of a saucer. Once you make it about the size of a saucer, you're going to take your meat and your sausages, your eggs and your sausages and things, and you're going to put them inside of in the middle of your biscuit. Try to put them directly in the middle. This is one I had already put together, but you put it in the middle, and the reason being is because you want to fold it over. You want to encase it in the biscuit, and then you're going to clean up your edges. I know it looks like a tart. I've been told that several times, but it's a Hot Pocket, trust me. Could be a tart. It could be a homemade tart, but no, it's a homemade Hot Pocket. And you're going to put butter on it so that when it cooks, it'll cook with a golden brown sheen on the top. Now, for your pan. You can use any pan you want. I've used a cookie sheet. I've used a big pan. I've used a small pan. It just depends. You can use a glass pan, steel pan. It does not matter what type of pan you use. If you're going to make a lot, of course, you're going to want the bigger pan. If you're only making one, you can use a smaller pan. It does not matter. I've even used the pan that you use to make bread. I've even stuck them down in there because I only made one. But make sure you grease your pan. You can either use Pam or you can use butter. I prefer to use Pam because it's healthier, and they have the olive oil flavored one, so that's good. You put it in the oven, and you're going to let it cook for about 15 to 17 minutes. The Grand biscuits only cook for 15 to 17 minutes because everything else is done. The only thing you're cooking is your biscuit. After about 15, 20 minutes at the most, 17 minutes at the most, you're going to have a nice little Hot Pocket. Don't forget, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and everybody should have one. If you don't have the time, make a bunch of these and stick them in the freezer, and then stick them in the oven while you're getting ready for work. And when you walk out the door, you have your breakfast in your hand. Thank you for listening to my demonstration. I hope you enjoy. Bye.